Julia Hernandez says that's exactly what happened to her.
I did have a really hard time. I didn't have any way to pay for everyday things like gas, utilities.
A single mother who lives in this Illinois suburb, Hernandez had been offered a job as an executive assistant.
I was made an offer, gave my 2 weeks notice with the current employer that I had, and got a phone call from my new employer. They stated they were no longer going to move forward with the hiring process because of some information that came up on my background check.
So you must have been stunned.
Oh, definitely.
Hernandez found out that a company called Verifications, Inc. had done a background check on her and told her new employer that she had a criminal record for theft and resisting arrest.
You've never done either one of those things.
Right, right.
So Hernandez made a trip to the circuit court's office with the file number for the criminal record listed on the background check.
I went on the computers, looked up the information by the case. Once I got that information, I went to the clerk, asked her to give me the file. She gave me the file, looked through it, and to my surprise, it was by another person's name.
Jacqueline Rivera.
That is correct.
How long did you go without a job?
I went without a job for months.
Tough 4 months?
Very tough, very tough. I did go through a depression stage. I did have to go for state assistance to be able to feed my son and myself, which was very, very difficult for me because I've always supported us throughout our lives.
We went to Verifications, Inc. in Minneapolis to find out how all this happened.
When I do my portion on privacy versus the need to know, we will cover it from two different directions, really.
Mary Poquette is the company's chief compliance officer.
When we checked those records, we found 2 convictions. And when we looked at those records, we had a match based upon her name, her full date of birth, her driver's license number, her social security number, and her home address. So certainly there was absolutely no reason to think that these 2 records actually did not belong to her.
I do have one question, though, because I know as well that you did find that there was another name, Jacqueline Rivera, with a different date of birth.
Right.
Same social security number. But why wouldn't that raise a red flag when you have 2 different names and 2 different dates of birth associated with the same conviction?
Certainly it raised a red flag from the standpoint of there is another name associated with this record, but quite frankly, it's not unusual.
Is it really? It's not unusual?
If I were arrested, I could say my name was Jane Smith. And at that time, there's really no way for the arresting agency to know what my name is. Eventually they will get to do a fingerprint comparison and so on. But as that arrest was made, the arrest was made under the name that I provided.
Do you then, though, send somebody down or do a further search to make sure that you've got the right person?
If an employer is considering an adverse employment decision because of something in the background report, then they are obligated under federal law to notify the person that they are considering taking this action, in this case to Julia, and there are a certain number of days that she would have to contact us if she wanted to dispute anything in the report.
She didn't get back to you?
According to our records, she did not contact us.
Hernandez admits she did not contact Verifications. She believed the only way to correct the record was to deal directly with the courthouse.
If she had contacted us, we would have notified her prospective employer that she was disputing something in the background report, and essentially the background is placed on hold while we reinvestigate. There is a photograph that's part of this file. It would have been pretty easy, I would think, to have compared the photograph that was part of the record and Julia.
We obtained that photo, which confirms the woman arrested and convicted was not Julia Hernandez. And how did this mistake occur? Apparently, it was a clerical error. In 2001, Julia Hernandez received a ticket for speeding and driving without a license. The Aurora, Illinois Police Department says Jacqueline Rivera's case number was mistakenly put on the file for Hernandez's speeding ticket. The wrong case number became part of Hernandez's background in the statewide database, a case of mistaken identity with a heavy cost. In this Little Rock, Arkansas company's computers resides the greatest single source of personal marketing data in the world.
You think they're scared?
They may be.
The man who built Axiom is far from the cloak and dagger type one might expect to find running such an enterprise. He is Charles Morgan, race car driver, airplane pilot,
I've activated the approach going to 120 on the heading.
and Axiom's company leader, as he is formally titled.
These guys here are monitoring the worldwide network.
Right.
You know, we have got connections to all of our clients.
Axiom collects and manages more than 3 billion records a day.
You say you have 17 billion data elements, almost all the households in the U.S., 70 million properties in the U.S., the most comprehensive repository of accurate telephone numbers in the U.S., both listed and unlisted.
Right. We scan or collect data from the telephone directories. We go to the internet. We also go to property records.
But in addition to gathering, sorting, and cataloging information from public records about virtually every American, Axiom has another business. Its acres of computers store private information about us, information that is gathered by the nation's banks, insurers, credit card issuers, retailers, car makers, and telecom companies. Almost every time you make a purchase, whether buying a book, going to the supermarket, or booking a trip, there's a record of your transaction, a record that's kept by the company you did business with. Using a combination of this personal information, along with its vast storehouse of public data, Axiom's computers are able to paint a remarkably detailed portrait of many Americans. Where we live, how many kids we have, where we go on vacation, where we shop, and what we like to buy. Axiom uses that information to help businesses analyze their customers and identify those individuals who would be most receptive to a particular product.
Sears is a client of Axiom's, Federated, two of the larger retailers in the country. When you're talking about them being able to access information, give me some sense here as to how that works.
Both of those companies, you know, have systems that collect information about their customers. Their goal and our goal with our infrastructure that we provide to them is to help them use that information to better serve their customers. You know, we all want stuff that's relevant to us.
Are they usually using only the data that they actually have that has been organized and analyzed in a fashion by Axiom that makes it more effective for them, or are you also giving them other data?
Well, we help supply them with, you know, other information to help them understand, you know, their customers better.
Such as, I mean, what does that mean?
We have a product called Personics that actually groups, if you will, the whole United States population into 70 different clusters.
Clusters that are based on specific consumer behavior and demographic characteristics. If your income has gone up, or you've gotten married, or had a baby, Axiom knows. And therefore, so do businesses that can target their products to your particular life stage. While the wealth of information gathered by data mining companies is an important tool for businesses to drive sales, privacy advocates see risks.